Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my garage. We're here more or less where we left off with the last episode. I have done a couple of pieces. I've actually done quite a bit, but we'll get back to that a little bit later. I went and got bumpers chromed. Don't know how I feel about it. I don't hate it, so there's that. Front and rear bumper. Under here I've put a gearbox in. I filled the brake fluid and I put a radiator in. There's no coolant in the radiator, but I have done other bits and pieces behind the scenes, but like I said, we'll get back to them in a little bit. Today I want to build the suspension. So first thing I'm going to need is cross member. Just going to go straight in and get that attached just now. I also brought the other toolbox out as well, it was sitting on the shelf. I'll just get this bolted straight in and throw a few bits and pieces on. Where is the transfer box? It's in here somewhere. There it is. Start with the transfer case, very important component. It goes right behind the gearbox, bolts onto the gearbox in fact. And then from there we can put the front axle on, the front diff. A couple of bolts on there, because of course this is going to be a 4-wheel drive car. There are no bolts on the front here, which is unusual, but it's fine. Now let's turn our attention to the steering system. This will go right there, bolts onto the frame rail. And then we need the steering arm at the other side here. Same kind of concept, 2 bolts onto the frame. Then you join the 2 of them together. Like so. I've never actually worked on a Lada Niva in real life. I don't know if this is actually the correct steering system for one of those, but it is a steering system. I have seen this, or a very similar setup to this, what this is basically representing. I have seen that before. There we are, steering complete. And with that being done, let's go for a couple of upper control arms, a couple of shock absorbers, a couple of lower control arms. Just like on the junkyard build, it's exactly the same, but this time they're much easier to find because they're in a catalogue rather than having to reload the junkyard countless times. That was a thoroughly enjoyable experience, also a very frustrating one as well. And a couple of bolts up here. We'll grab these shock absorbers, we'll get them put in place as well. A bolt there, there is another bolt at the top there that you'll see from the engine bay. Exact same on this side. Now next we actually need, I can find them. Next we need a couple of these half axles. and the front hubs, or steering knuckles. Oh, pop the hood. This is where everything literally ties together. And then this one. And last but not least, for the front suspension, we need a couple of these front hubs. Get them in place. We'll have this car complete in this episode. There we are. That's the front finished. Now let's go and we'll grab a couple of these hub 5s. We want a drive shaft, rear axle, and a 3.8 locked diff. We get these half axles put in here. And we get the rear diff bolted on as well. That makes for a complete rear axle. We'll carry this over to the car. There's a lot less involved in the rear of these cars. And we'll just leave that floating there for the time being while we grab the drive shaft. 3 bolts in there, 3 bolts on this side. We need a series of arms, so we need 1 of those, 2 of those, 2 of those. Start with the short arms because they go sort of inside here. Exact same thing on the other side. There's another bolt at the front there, you just can't see it. And these longer arms go towards the outside of the car. Just like that. And then finally this longer arm goes at the actual rear of the axle and holds the axle to the frame of the car. Just across there, like a torsion bar if you will. And we need a couple of rear shock absorbers. And then we're going to need a whole host of springs. 2 for the front and 2 for the rear. Bolt there and a bolt somewhere up the top here. Just there. Let's grab the spring compressor and get these springs put in. It's not going to change the right height of the car at all because they're standard springs, so they just plop into place. If you went for the raised or the lowered suspension, it would raise or lower the car as you would expect. And the way that works is it just sort of pulls the hub up. There we are. This car is costing an absolute fortune, but that's okay. That's the entire suspension system fully done. Now the next thing, I'm going to need the spanner again because it's time to move on to the brakes. So by the main brake line, we're going to need just almost everything. We'll start with the brake line. It just bolts in for now under there. We'll drop the spanner, grab the screwdriver. That's another spanner. There we are. Because over here, I have some brake discs that I prepared earlier. Now just as a test, I chromed them. They're slightly shinier than they would otherwise be. And I don't hate that idea. It's not exactly the idea I had, but it doesn't look terrible. I'll say that much. Right, so we've got 4 front brake pads there. And we've got 4 rear brake pads here, if I can spill them out rather than doing weird things with the box. There's 1 front, that's a rear. In case you're wondering, rear pads are significantly smaller than front pads. It's the other rear and the other front. This pad's not happy. Come on, in you go. There we are. There we are. I've left the spanner somewhere. We'll get all of these brake lines attached if possible. It's both the front and do the exact same thing on the rear. This one will have to be adjusted. There. Now, he's going to place with 3 bolts, just like every single other car. And then finally, this last one. There we are. I think we're on to wheels next, so I don't actually know what size of wheels they are. Another 5-spoke, but let's have a look in here where I have a million spares. I still have that BMW as well. 16-inch, and it looks like a high wall. So we'll go and buy 4 of those. Brand new, of course, because everything on this car is brand new.
Heard that Steve got himself a car parts black market. I bet that's where my bumper went.
So I think that'll be the original, but let's go for the wide ones just because why not? Could be cool. Hopefully they don't stick out from the car too much. And of course, we'll chrome them because we're going for a bit of a chrome look on this car. And while I'm here, I'm going to get a couple of coolant bottles. Fill the backpack up, so it's not a wasted trip. So what I'll do is I will get these wheels and tyres joined together and stuck on the car, and I'll bring you guys back once that part's done. Okay, they look absolutely awesome. Look how well they fit on the car. Don't even clip through or anything. They are looking awesome. These ones don't look bad, but these ones look incredible. Let's do some engine dressing though. Let's grab a spanner and go into engine, and we're going to need battery, we're going to need a fuel line, we are going to need the hoses, we're going to need wires main. I think that might be it. Let's start with the wires because they really make it look like an engine belongs in here. Follow it up with the battery. Just like so. Now you're probably thinking, I need an engine. Well, I made one. I have one in here. Look at this marvellous chrome monstrosity. The 1.8 inline 4 chromed out engine. Just simply because I can. I fully expect I'm going to lose a massive fortune with this car. But I don't know, it was one of these why not type builds. And I couldn't think of a valid reason as to why not. I've already got that bolt done up. There is another engine mount bolt just there though. This engine is actually ready to go. It already has the oil in it and everything. So that's pretty cool, and now it's connected to a battery. Let's throw a fuel line in the mix. Just like so. And then get these hoses in place. There we are. The only thing that's actually left to do on this car is fill up the coolant. Remaking engines. Some of you might like that, some of you might hate it, but I personally think it saves an awful lot of time in a video. If I can do that. When I can't actually record a video, I'll just build an engine for whatever build we're doing at the time. Same with purchasing parts from the junkyard, doing that sort of off camera, ready to go, so that the episode's a bit more fluid. But speaking of fluid, I'll get this topped up and I'll bring you guys back in just a couple of minutes. Okay, that is the car fully built. I just had to put fuel in it and a couple of pieces that I'd missed, like the exhaust and the handbrake cable, but they're all now attached. I have not. If I sell this, I will not make my money back. So this one is going to be a keeper, I'd say. But it does start. It's a bit wobbly. Handbrake works. The lights on this car. That's the wipers. That's the hazards. There they are. course, being all-wheel drive, not the best for donuts. As you can see, pretty decent off-road. Let's try to turn all the lights off again. There. So my question to you is, which one of these two Ladanivs, or Ladanivas, do you prefer? The one we built entirely from scratch, which I have affectionately named Banana, or the junky scrapyard build that we built down at the junkyard, which, by the way, now doesn't start. I drove it in here, now it's not starting. Probably, I imagine, would have something to do with that. I expect that it's because the block is dead, probably. But let me know in the comments, which one of these two would you rather jump into? Which is the better car? But unfortunately, that is all I have time for in today's episode. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, you can of course subscribe. And as always, you can ring the bell notification, and that way you get notified of all future content. In the next episode, we'll be doing a little bit more work to the junk car over there. See if we can get it started again and do some silly things with it. And hopefully we don't destroy it completely. I would do it with the new car, but I've just spent far too many real life hours of my time to build that car from scratch that I don't want to immediately crash it. The other car actually took more time, but I'm okay with crashing that one. But let me know down in the comments which one you prefer, and you can also join me on Discord. The link is in the video description, and I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.